Howdy, howdy, howdy. We're back in the south and it's thankfully overcast today. It's Engineer 775. Hope you're all doing well. Gonna walk you through another 56 panel system. The last one we put in was just awesome. Customer's super happy. So we're building larger systems, 2 arrays, 2 Sol-Arks, and trying to pretty much allow people to go off grid, zero their power bills, you name it. So we are going to do an EMP hardened system here. We're going to be using for the first time some bifacial panels on these ground mounts. They're Hanwha Q-Cell 410 watt bifacials. They're 62 pounds a piece. So lots of glass on this. We're going to be driving posts here for the Sinclair. And so I'm going to show you, before we get started, show you around a bit. All right, we were loaded heavy, loaded down. Got lots of ground mount, excavator. We got these panels a little bit longer too. They're like 85 inches. These are the Q-Cell. Got 2 pallets of those. It's about 3,800 pounds on my little material trailer, which is, it towed great. So that was good. Where we're heading down there, we're see Mr. Willis down there. All the meter base, everything's there. We're gonna put our bypasses, a lot of 200 amp disconnects, 200 amp bypasses, big PDBs, power distribution blocks, and our solar array is going out here. We're about ready to map that out. Pathfinder, I have to move this truck. Customer graciously gave me the keys to his backhoe that we're gonna use for moving some stuff. So it's just time to get to work. And then we got solar directionally, a conduit put under his driveway to his house and popped up where we need it. I'm just gonna connect to that with some dog bones and bring that power up to this array, or I should say from the array down there. Okay, so much to do. Stop videoing and get to work. What? Next round, this is how you get the inverters over to the mech room. We're trying to work, we got all our tools and all the stuff that we hauled in up here at the ground mount. So we're making Willis haul everything down to the mech room. We're not making them, he's volunteering. All right, we were able to drive our first set of posts very nicely. We definitely in some different sandy soil here. So we've put them as deep as we possibly can without getting the solar down in the dirt here. So I don't want to do that. We're using our handy dandy magnetic inclinometer right on 30 degrees, pretty close to the latitude where we are. And we got another array to put in. So getting staged, getting set up. And sometimes I use a helioscope for a quick and dirty shading analysis between the arrays. So I don't want to make that front array shade this back array. And helioscope is a tool I use every day, so it's quick and it makes me lazy. There is a formula that allows you to calculate the spacing based on the sun when it's in its lowest elevation, time of year, December 21st, and allows you to calculate it coming, sun angle and elevation coming from the east or from the west, and so you know what spacing, inter-row spacing it's called. There are some tables too that make it quick and easy, but nothing beats a simulation software. And what's cool, if you know the slope of the ground, that's what I did in the last one. This one's even more favorable because the rear array is higher than the front array by about, I'd say, a good 18 inches. So that's helpful too. But when they slope this way, then you got to really pay attention, because this front array, and depending on what angle you've tilted your array at, can really shade the back. So very embarrassing when your solar inner row spacing is incorrect. So, all right, let's get going. Got a laser set up here. We use this auto leveling. Really, the tools are awesome today, aren't they? Auto leveling lasers and no more transits, and this is just cool stuff. So we're getting this as low as we can in the sand, just to lower its profile, keep the wind, the torque on the post low, and because we're just not used to working in the sand. But those are 12 footers driven down 87, 89, 90 inches into the ground. So They ain't going anywhere. Residential baby solar farm on its way. I don't know if I'd like to do those big solar farms and pound posts all day. Not my cup of tea, but I am sure thankful for a pounder. Okay, so we got our 2 rows spaced correctly and our post spacing correctly. You got to watch that post spacing. It stinks to have to pull them out and redo it because you got to move quite a ways away because you violated the integrity of the soil. So we're going to go switch over and show the mechanical room, and then we'll get back to start building these racks. All right, so we have a different looking battery bank. This is a custom made rack by the customer who has a golf cart company, and so he has access to these batteries. These are the Relion 330 AGMs, and this is going to be an EMP hardened system, so those batteries are, we don't have to worry about any BMSs. So he's got these disconnects, 48. I don't know what these are yet. I got to check them out. And we'll be combining these. So there's 24 of those batteries, 6 strings of 4. And then we'll parallel these Sol-Arks. These are the EMP hardened 12Ks. And we're getting ready to mount our wiring trough. We use our handy dandy template to make our holes in our trough. And then we'll be bringing solar. Solar was is going to come in here. My array is on the other side of that building, and then that orange pipe there is a line bore under the driveway and stubbed up here. I'm going to put a pole box and then come up and pop it in, bring it over to the wiring trough. So that's kind of phase 1. And then this is one of the panels we're going to run. So we're going to stack them and run this panel. We'll put a 200 amp bypass in, a 200 amp disconnect outside. All right, we're connecting the conduit from the directional line bore company to our 2-inch PVC conduit. You can glue couplings right on there, but we like what are called dog bones. They're kind of a splice coupling. They got rubber gaskets. They tighten up nice. So it's a transition from one 2-inch to the other 2-inch. And inside that coupling, those pipes are actually touching. Heavy duty rubber gaskets. So it's a good connection. And because the glue connections take sometimes under a lot of stress there. So we're going to backfill now, and this will swoop right on over into the house right there. It pops up under the water lines, utilities, driveway. That just saves so much aggravation. People are like, just saw the driveway. Okay, get a concrete truck, tear through all these water lines, ruin your day, waste about a day. This guy can pop this thing in at about $15 a foot in about 2 hours. So we could have the line, and we were considering line boring all the way to the array, but it's hard to know where to pop out. And that was going to cost me $4,500. So no, we're not doing that, but this was great. Our trench is in, and we put about 6 inches of soil on top of the pipe, and then we have our emergency trench tape, electrical warning, and I'll flick that dirt in there with the excavator, and then we will come back here and strap and clamp up some fangs. And this will actually pull PV wire from that pull box through and land it on this disconnect. This disconnect will be the back array. This one will be the front array. Works out really well. We got our ground bars, ground rods, all that fun stuff. All right, afternoon ground mount build after getting our pipe in and backfilled. DC disconnects, everything connected there. Abraham's putting on the cantilevers.
Oh, strug life.
I'm not helping him, I'm just filming.
It's all right, I got this hat on that allows me to do anything.
So, the hat, I don't know about that hat. It looks like it's fading. It was pink, or now it's, I don't know what it is. That's a different kind of hat.
Takes a different kind of man.
So these are our PV disconnects you've seen, the DC isolators, nice little weather head, ground bar, and our connections between the arrays and the home run. So when we get into larger panels, what do I mean by that? There's a lot of solar panels now are wider than they used to be. You used to could calculate 40 inches wide, including your mid clamps, but not today. So these Hanwha Q cells are 40.5 inches wide. And so what does that do to you? So that makes for and on a 28 panel ground mount, for example, we're gonna be at about 12 inches wider than the standard design. So we have to bolt on these cantilevers. These are kind of universal cantilevers. Universal in that they'll bolt on the east or the west side, and then we'll cut them after we center the glass, the array on the ground mount. We will cut off the end with a bandsaw, and we don't want a lot of that galvanized sticking out of there. It'll definitely ruin your day when you walk into it, and it looks ugly too. So, sorry, Sinclair. So we will show you how that goes. So bolt on this cantilever. I might help on this one. All right, we're putting up our first bifacial Hanwha Q cells. I'm gonna call them Hanwha Cool cells. What do you think, boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool cell.
This is the actual back sheet. So 2 panes of glass on either side of silicon wafers. Okay.
I'm trying to see if you can get through. If you can see through it.
You can. You can see through the.
Can you see my hand? Not really.
Yes, I see you. Okay, we're whooped. End of day 2, and we got this is 23 kilowatts, residential bifacials. We're gonna see how they're gonna perform. You've seen another video we've done with 2 very similar, same size, same exact wattage, but they're not bifacials. So I'm curious as I track these on the app how this system will perform compared to that one. It's gonna be fun to watch, see if they truly do make more power. Power from behind. Okay, well, tomorrow we'll get here. The other cool thing about these is, looks like the lack of wire. Look at these. Just boom, boom. Not much wire management to have to do in these bifacials. So that is awesome. Oh, we got to cut off some cantilevers, as you see. Can't leave that sticking out there. Whew, that's ugly. And cut them off, clean this up. It's pretty centered though, the array on the ground mount, so pretty happy with it. We'll end up vacuuming some lines, sucking some string, get that ready for a pull. We're gonna do this in 2 phases because we got 2 other ground mounts to do this week. Oh, so we're gonna get out of here tomorrow, but it's gonna be in good shape. We might actually get the batteries hooked up with the inverters, show you that. And but I'm pretty happy. Day and a half, Abraham and I busting it. So very good. Okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow, folks. Tomorrow is wrap up of phase 1 of this dual Sol-Ark bifacial lead acid EMP hardened 3 or 4 transfer switch awesome solar system. Okay, I'm loopy now. It's time to go home. It's time to get some food. Okay, see you tomorrow. Day 3 bifacial build. Gonna cut those cantilevers off. That's my first job. And then we're gonna pull a string in here for our solar run. So our solar's gonna come in right here and pop over to the Sol-Arks. Here, we're gonna combine their outputs and their inputs in the gutter. And then I think we figured out our battery combiner strategy using these 600 amp Blue Sea combiners. We'll be landing, yeah, we have just enough studs to do that, to land 8 battery cables to combine that bank. And then I think we're gonna run a bunch of SCR cable we're gonna go into the attic. Customer gave us permission to cut a little scuttle hole, and that's probably what we're gonna do to get up in this attic and then just bring some pipe down to our bypass transfer switch on this side. I cut this drywall out to make a chase to get into our panels outside. So we got a lot to do. All right, the last transition we made with MC4s, but these PDBs, power distribution blocks, 1-to-1s, are super nice to transition from PV wire to our 8 THHN. And then we pulled that 8 over to this guy. So we have both of our disconnects on this array, all phased up. So one in the front is for the array in the front. Pretty simple. Abraham's got everything labeled. Sweet. And now we have our string in for our 2-inch for our pull to the house. So everything's buttoned up, except we gotta put our EMP suppressors on.
Yep.
And then we'll be just about done out here. All right, working on the AC side. Our AC disconnect, 175 amp time delay fuses. We're gonna put another transfer switch out here and wired up the battery bank, combined it, and actually turned it on. So she is working. Now I turned them on individually. We're gonna parallel these inverters. And we got some heavy duty power distribution blocks. I'm gonna use this service SER cable 4-op. Gonna combine for grid, and we're gonna combine for load using the same power distribution blocks. And we're gonna feed them up here, and then we're gonna bring them down into the top of this, right there. AC disconnect. We're gonna run this whole panel. So we're just building things now, and we're gonna pull that stuff in tomorrow. So yeah, this thing's working awesome. We are grid down last day to land our last group of wires, and it is a bunch of wires. Right, fellers?
Yes, sir. It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. All right. We done dead. All right, so we got our AC disconnect on the left. We got a transfer switch for this outdoor panel.
Top. Everyone remember the hot.
Top is hot. All right, and then we got our panel. We're gonna run off the Sol-Arks in here. All right, so I'm gonna pull the mains out of this panel now. Everything is good except we've had some bad Wi-Fi connections. So anyway, they're in parallel. Okay, Engineer 775, you got into it now. 400 amp service, we pulled the meter, getting our AC disconnect wire, pulling the feeders out of the panel that's directly behind here, which will be a critical loads panel. We're going to give him the ability to run this whole panel. And so it's rebuild time. All right, we just passed inspection, and one of the things we wanted to add, the customer's going to get a electric car at some point, so we went ahead and ran conduit for him where he's going to place his charger. We're not going to pull the wires in today. We don't know what he's picking for a car yet. But here is a lot of old rusty panels and equipment we've had to work with. And we have got everything landed. Our bypasses are finished. We got to get the meter back in, get this house powered up. Our fuses are in, and we're ready to go. All right, it's the last day here on this job, which has been a good one. We are doing some load testing. So right now we're not on bypass. We're running this entire panel. We're gonna turn all sorts of things on, air conditioners. Again, with 2 Sol-Arks, sorry to slam that in your ear. It's another ball game, but we have just updated the latest, greatest software, and we have turned the grid off. That's why that is yellow there. And we're just running the loads in the house. And it's not much. We got 4, we were up to like 6,000 before, so they must have turned it off. We had some Wi-Fi issues. They have been resolved. So it's just it's the last day. There's a lot of little things that need to get buttoned up. But we want to really put this thing through its paces in off-grid mode. We got enough battery to do it. I got to check my charge settings on this battery for discharge. Max 8 charge 185. I'm going up. I'm gonna go up. I don't wanna, yeah, I'm just gonna go up. What I'm doing is changing the settings on the master. I'm going for broke here. All right, and that should change it on the slave. It changes them pretty quick within a couple seconds. And so we've shut the grid off. We've basically running the house in off-grid mode. We have a panel in here with a bypass, and then we have a panel out here with a bypass. Bypass here, and we have this panel. Now there's more loads and heavy air conditioners and condensers that we can't run, but we're giving this customer the ability to manage his own loads in this panel. So this is a fun one, but so far so good. So we're gonna see if we can start this 5-ton unit now that we're in off-grid mode and see what happens. All right, we're gonna attempt right now to start this unit. Now it has a locking rotor amps of 135, so it's not likely that it will, a 5-ton, but we're gonna look at putting a micro air soft starter on here. But let's see, she might not start. If the Sol-Arks start beeping, then it didn't work. But these Sol-Arks in parallel should hit 34, they're supposed to hit 34 kW in surge working together. It started. It started. I just heard the compressor start. It started. Yeah, baby. Started. So that's good.
Oh man, it did it!
We started. Now that doesn't mean it'll start it every time because they can be in a bad position. Now we're getting crazy. We're turning on dryers, heat pumps with 2 Sol-Arks stacked. It's lights weren't even flickering.
5, 6.
So what we just bumped up to?
6.
Getting some load now. And again, these are stacked, so that's 12 kilowatts in this house.
And we're pulling 25 out of the battery.
And it's a cloudy day, so the solar is not quite with us. So good test. Love this stuff, don't you? All right, wrapping the system up. Done some testing, made sure our settings are good. This is a dual Sol-Ark, grid tie, grid cell, time of use, EMP hardened. We threw the kitchen sink at it. And the load testing worked fantastic. Just ran a 5-ton heat pump. We ran, oh gosh, well pump, electric clothes dryer, all sorts of things. We got up to about 13 kilowatts, not an issue. 2 of these inverters together will surge 34,000 watts, 18,000 continuous. They're paralleled and balanced nicely. This is the first time I've really load tested a system with 2. It's like, this is a new world. 2 of these pulling together, adding together, just awesomeness. So we've got this panel. We're just going to run it all the time on the inverter. We've got a bypass put in here for grid. If there's ever an issue, we can bypass, go back on the grid like we were never here. And we have the same on another 200 amp panel out here. We have a bypass to handle this panel. But when the grid's down, his well pump is on this panel, which is a long ways away. So he can have the ability to go off the grid with the selection. Right now we're in grid. He can go back to off grid. We have our AC disconnect with our 150 amp time delay fuses. And they changed out the meter for us last week. So we've been pushing some awesome solar. About 21 kilowatts just was coming down out of 23. That's almost 24, so pretty impressive. The bifacials, we're seeing about 11 to 12% more power out of the bifacials. I have a system just like this with 2 Sol-Arks with regular panels, and these are bifacials I got for $1. I mean, yeah, there's a 1 cent more per watt. So we said, let's do it. So they're definitely produce more power. They quote up to 20% more. That's, I don't know, maybe. So anyway, that's it. We're gonna sign out. There's a crew. ready to go home. All done. We're out of work to do. Anything else? Any final parting words?
Buy Sol-Ark.
Buy Sol-Ark. Thank you, Willis.
On to the next one.
On to the next one. We had lots of work. It's fall, so that's a lot of work to do for solar guys. All right. Engineer 775 signing out. If you need help with anything, let me know. DIY systems, turnkey systems within our zone. We'll come help you. We can possibly help you pound posts in with the driver if you're within range. But it's been a busy time, fun time, learning a lot. And thanks to Sol-Ark, these systems are so cool.